This is Paul. Yes, looking at this handbook, the student handbook, the State Police Officers Authority. Yes. In some states, federal law enforcement officers of specified federal agencies have limited or complete state peace officer arrest authority. For example, in Iowa, all federal law enforcement officers with federal arrest authority who are authorized to carry a firearm also have state arrest authority over indictable state offenses. In other states, the offense must be committed in the officer's presence. Every state is different. It's important to know the law of the particular state in which the officer is working to determine whether state peace officer status exists. Important to know your agency's policy regarding state peace officer authority. In particular, agency personnel do not exercise state peace officer authority unless their agency's policy permits their doing so. Yeah. Now, this officers that may acquire state jurisdiction by being deputized as a deputy sheriff or other state or local officer under the appropriate state law. Yes. The deputy sheriffs, those that are deputized, policy cross designation as a state agency personnel, citizens arrest. Now, as much as you dislike the thought of me arresting the sheriff, there's always a question about exactly who's going to enforce the law. Now, let's say I walked up on the sheriff. I said, well, Sheriff, I'm going to have to arrest you. You refuse to enforce my parenting rights. My sons have been abducted. I've sent you 1,600,000 emails. And for some reason, you just don't think that you have to do what the law. Now, a citizen's arrest. Would you allow me to do that? Could I just walk up on the sheriff and say, well, I'm going to need your handcuffs? Why don't you get me every state patrol officer in every state of the United States? I've been emailing the Washington State Patrol, and a lot of them have been on vacation or sent me auto responses. I would think that child abduction laws that are in play today, it could be that the Washington State Patrol just doesn't understand that when a county court system doesn't enforce the due process rights of a parent, you issue a dissolution of marriage without me having any actual notice of the dissolution of marriage. And then you keep issuing protection orders where there's no due process to myself. And then you arrest me for them without admitting the evidence that I didn't commit cyberstalking. I'm thinking that the Washington State Patrol is getting arrested. Now, all it takes is a pair of handcuffs, doesn't it? I mean, could I go through the Washington State Patrol and just start slapping on the cuffs? Don't you have to enforce these laws? Now, I've emailed, could have been 20 or 30 different Washington State Patrol officers, and for some reason the big dog didn't like me. You might be 6'6" and an American, but as an American citizen, I don't care how big or how tall you are. You don't enforce the law, you're going to prison. Washington State Patrol Bautista. Did you not get my email, Grant? Did you thought? Well, don't you? The State Patrol can't arrest police officers or sheriffs. Now, why don't you give me all of those that have been deputized? I'd like you to go through every sheriff's department. I'd like to know the employment application of each and every employee of every sheriff's department for the last 40 years. And then I'd like the applicants that have been deputized by the sheriff right now.